a podcast created by two guys brought together by movement, transformed into brotherhood. The boys share their authenticity as they deep dive into what it means to explore this human experience, shedding light on personal trials and accumulated wisdom. Conscious Collingwood is meant to provoke thought and insight to expand your personal awareness. Come along for the journey as Justin and Jeff exemplify what it means to be a man living wholeheartedly, balancing the divine, masculine, and feminine. Welcome to Conscious Collingwood.
Here we go.
Maybe I can sync up that with a loud clap.
Well, that's smart.
I like the studio.
This is it.
Miss Ariana this week.
I know. It was great podcasting with her. She's a interesting cat.
Yeah. Living in the community, is she intense all the time?
$90 to 95% of the time. 90%. No, she's very playful. She's very silly, happy. Likes to goof around. Yeah. And Dan really brings that out of her. Yeah. But yeah, she's very serious a lot. Majority of the time. She's focused.
Yeah. But serious in an expansive way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, not taking life crazy serious, but just knowing that let's maximize this life.
Yes.
Which maybe is too
Let's
serious. I don't know.
maximize this life. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she'd resonate with that.
Mm-hmm. I think so too.
How do you feel like you can't get enough? Like you're just constantly maximizing this life?
I'm maximizing something. Yeah, I definitely toe the line between not giving a fuck, but then giving too many, and realizing that I only have so much time left, and it's like, what can I do?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like recently I really am adopting an understanding that we'll never get it done. It's infinity. And so it's allowing me to slow down a little bit and recognize that I can achieve what I need to achieve in the next life. Because there will be many more lives.
Yeah.
This won't be the only one. And maybe that's a bypass. Maybe I'm giving myself permission in a sense to slow down. I don't know. But when I say those words and feel it, it resonates.
That's all that matters.
So there might be a little bit of truth to it.
As long as it settles your soul in a way that allows you to be a little bit more at peace.
Yeah.
And enjoy this life, go for it.
Yeah. And man, just through questions and conversations with friends and obviously chatting with Ariana last week and beyond, I cannot believe, and I've been reflecting on this, I cannot believe how far I've come in the last 8 to 10 years. Like as a person, as a husband, as a father. Like that saying that, a leopard can't change its spots, I don't believe that's true.
Yeah, he's a fucking tiger now.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
There's still lots of growth to be had, but I'm a way different person than I was, thankfully. So, when you ask, like, there's still a lot of things I want to accomplish, and I still have a lot of goals, but I don't put the pressure on myself. Maybe that's a better way of saying it. Whatever's meant for me is going to come my way, and I've surrendered to that, as opposed to feeling like I need to achieve to make myself feel worthy. That would be the difference.
Yeah. So within this 8 to 10 year span, you'd say you were uncomfortable, and then, through a series of events, decided things got to change. And along the journey, you now got to a place where you do feel more peace than you feel unsettled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
I feel the same.
Yeah.
2018.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was like, I'm so uncomfortable. Things got to change. And 6 years later, we're here.
Yeah.
Where I feel, quite grounded.
Yeah. I think, not to get too woo-woo, but, some other people I've spoken to, when I hear their timelines of when things started to shift for them, it's all around the same time. 2012 to 2015, 16, like within, call it a 5-year span, just a lot happening. I mean, it's just a small sample size. I don't know.
It might
But
be
there's-
Saturn Returns for people. You know what's crazy?
Are you being serious?
No, I'm very serious. I'm very serious. They, you can look at the banking system. So a better person to go about this is Jason Picard.
Mm-hmm.
He is, he was a brilliant mind in finance, and he shows how the moon has an effect on the markets, and it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
So really, the moon doesn't have an effect on, it has an effect on everything. But people's Saturn return is like this pinnacle time between 28 and 32. It's a 4-year cycle that I could be wrong. I don't know. I think I'm pretty confident with this information, but we'll figure it out. But that 28 to 32, that is like when you feel this urge to start growing, making change in your life.
Yeah. Even more individuation.
More individuation. It's a ramp up.
Well, that timeline sounds accurate for me.
Yeah, me too.
100%. So yeah, maybe the year isn't, but it's that age bracket.
Yeah, yours might have been 2012.
Yeah.
Mine was 2018. Tracks with our age difference.
Correct. So I wonder what that is. Do you think those that feel the call and that have the courage to lean into that start making the changes, and there's a window, and if you miss it, it's really challenging to adapt, and like say you miss the window and now you're 50 years old.
It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks.
Maybe that's what it is.
It's the only challenging thing is because everything is a neural pathway. So the deeper ingrained these pathways are, the harder they are to change. So thoughts, thoughts create feelings, and then we get kind of attached to the feelings of it all. I just listened to Theo Vaughn and Tony Robbins.
Yeah, it's a good one, eh?
It's a really good one. And Tony was helping Theo Vaughn break these beliefs about not being good enough. And, Theo Vaughn was just like saying, he's like, he got so attached to the feeling that it was almost like the feelings were a part of himself that he didn't want to let down. Where when you become so close to or addicted to the feeling, like I even told you, when we first hear a song, it ignites a feeling within us, and then we'll apologies, then we'll fall back to re-listening to that song for the feeling of it. Not always. Well, obviously it's a good, probably good music if you like it, but it has an impact, and really it's like starting to understand your patterns. But the deeper the pattern, the harder it is to change. I think, if there is some sort of Saturn return, maybe it is a divine magic where it's like, this is an opportune time to change. So everybody gets this kind of discomfort to learn a little bit more about themselves, to be like, all right, let's go for it.
Yeah. Maybe something similar to, not to say more practical, but like in the business world, there's some mentors online that talk about that. Like your 20s are just for exploring. take risks, figure out what you like, what your passions are, like really figure out who you are. Then your 30s is about assembling that and making something of it. And then your 40s and 50s and beyond is when you reap the rewards of all that hard work and sacrifice and all that sort of stuff, right? And of figuring who you are and whether it is the business or whatever you're in. And when I hear those things, I'm like, well, that seems to ring true for me too.
Yeah.
You know,
as long as you don't neglect yourself throughout the process, then you do get to reap the reward. But if you neglect yourself, then either you're successful and then have to play catch up with your physical body and your mental health.
Yeah.
Because the mind reflects the body always. So you won't be happy. You'll have money, but you won't be happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I think we're all kind of witnessing that, and I mean me specifically. You know, I had a mentor and, you know, did wonders for me. But if we, as a society, could support our adolescents and our youth better, to support them through, you know, their early 20s and share this wisdom with them, so they're not just, you know, blindly navigating life. It's like, here's the timeline, or here's the strategy or whatever to get through your 20s. Go be playful, have fun, travel, figure out what you want, and then it's, you know, bear down sort of thing. And, you know, I find some people just wander aimlessly and have no clue what's going on. And I mean, I was somewhat there.
Mm-hmm.
I started my Ike's Turf business out of necessity for change, because I couldn't do what I was doing anymore. But it was pretty blind. I had no fucking idea. I was just, you know, this idea of working for myself lit me up, and then the passion of working with artificial turf because of my background made sense, and then so I just made it happen. But I didn't have any strategies. I didn't know what I was doing at all. If I could go back, man, oh man, I would do things way differently. When it comes to establishing assets, when it comes to equipment, managing money differently, retaining employees. Like, of course it's a journey and it's all about learning, and it's my path and it's mine specifically to learn from, but still, I look back and go, I caused myself a lot of pain. Oh my God. A lot. You know, and getting those buckets out of balance to the point where I don't know who I am anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm not supporting my wife as well as I need to. I'm not supporting my children the best I can. I'm not supporting myself. Mm-hmm. I'm just completely fucked right now. And thankfully it didn't get really, really dark, but, you know, got to a point where I couldn't do what I was doing anymore.
Yeah.
And so I sought help and started unpacking all the things and started to...
Were you always able to be honest with yourself?
Well, what do you mean by that before I answer?
Like, what I've noticed is it can be really hard to admit that you need help.
I was definitely a lone wolfer. And I'm definitely someone who played the victim. I might not have outwardly portrayed that, and people might not have seen that. But looking back, I was someone who, it's his fault I got laid off. It's his fault I'm carrying that baggage around. I took that personally. I did a better job than you think I did. Like, just all this, just took things way too personal. And yeah, so I think where I've always been honest with myself is having integrity and doing the jobs right and not cutting corners and all that. But where I was probably dishonest was not being accountable for my own feelings. And passing those on to other people. It's their fault that I'm feeling this way. So learning how to manage my emotions better, establish boundaries. You know, the long list of things you need to do to protect yourself and free yourself. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Because it's not easy. You know?
No, and it's not easy to look in the mirror.
It's really hard to look in the mirror
and go, fuck, I'm not who I think I am.
Yeah.
You know, thankfully I never ran my mouth, or I never burned bridges. Like, I think I was wise enough that I didn't do that, but I carried a lot of shame and guilt in certain areas, and burden and just heaviness, and yeah, but thankfully I never said anything or did anything to really get myself into trouble.
Yeah.
But regardless, caused myself a lot of anguish over the years. And again, if I was to give a specific example, it's, getting laid off at the golf course twice, and then instead of being curious about what actually happened and maybe ask more questions, I was judgmental, didn't ask any questions, and now I'm the victim. I'm laid off twice in 5 years with a 3-month-old baby at home and a wife, newborn mom, and it's everybody else's fault except mine. Where it's just the nature of the business. The fucking economy is collapsing. I wasn't supposed to be in the meeting. I know I wasn't, but I was. Like, if I could go back, there's just more I would have done. So, but I took that story and just carried the weight of it for way too long. 7 years before I really released that. Wow. It was always a part of my story. If someone asked me what I did, and I, did a quick biography of what it was always part of my story. Huh. Until one day working with my coach, I think we were doing an exercise or something, and I was sharing my story, and that was not in it. And she reflected that to me, and obviously I felt very proud because I'd rewired myself to some degree, rewrote my story. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a part of me anymore, for the most part. So anyway, I just thought I'd give that specific example because people might be going, "What the hell are you talking about, Jeff?" But shit happens.
Yeah.
But I took it too personal. Mm-hmm. And to some degree, Justin, I've done that the last couple of years in business too. Too much emotion wrapped up in business.
Yeah.
And I'm learning more but I can't fault myself. That's who I am. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and it's part of my personality. But I'm getting better at managing it. For sure.
Yeah.
But I am recognizing where my emotion, it's not necessary to be part of this business dealing.
Yeah. Lynn is about to walk in the door.
Oh, cool.
Hi, Lynn. Good, how are you?
Oh, and we're back.
And we're back. Thanks for interrupting, Lynn.
Hey, I thought like your eyes were watering. I thought, am I getting that boring? And you just...
Yeah. Fucking.
Sorry, Justin.
Sorry, I'm falling asleep here.
Jeepers,
Your story about your vulnerable story was boring me.
Oh, mercy. Anyway, that's fun.
That is funny.
Yeah. Where do we go now?
Well, you were saying that the story, eventually when you were sharing your story with Tammy Folds, it didn't involve getting laid off at the golf course.
That's right, yeah. So if you were to speak about, rewiring neural pathways, and I'm sure there's an element of that, filling in the grid, it's no longer part of me. Like, it's a memory, but I let the pain of it go, and healed it, Yeah. And there's so much to that. It's giving it light. It's grieving it. Like, that's one thing that Tammy, because she's really, her business has shifted towards grief recovery work, and she's a death doula. But anyway, in saying that, a lot of the stuff we go through in life requires grief, and we never properly process it. So that was a huge part of it.
Feelings buried alive never die.
That was my fucking dream, and it has been for a long time. And maybe there's still an amber there, deep in the bush, just waiting to be for some oxygen. But my goal was to be a golf course superintendent. I loved it.
Yeah.
And when that felt like it was taken away from me, dare say devastating,
Yeah.
So a lot of
broke your heart.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I think I was so, I suppressed that feeling because I had to put on the armor and be the provider and be the protector. And, I think I've told this story before, maybe not, but we were driving down to southern Ontario to see my cousins and dad's side of the family. And I hadn't told Terry for a week that I'd lost my job. And so we're on the way down to Melbourne. And we pulled over in a parking lot in a baseball diamond so Terry could feed Ella. And it was that time I told her, and she broke down crying. I'm like, it's okay though. I've got another job. I've got things figured out. Like I've got you taken care of.
Yeah, we're good.
But she was grieving for me. She's like, but it was your dream, Jeff. Like she felt so. She didn't even care about what happened. It was more so. It was my dream to do that.
Mm.
So just in this moment, reflecting on it now, she had enough wherewithal to have the emotion to be upset about the dream, where I didn't. I was just so numb to it all because I was trying to be a good man and maybe to some degree ignore the pain because it was too raw.
Yeah.
You know, or just didn't have enough awareness to really understand.
So oftentimes you don't have the awareness that, you know, I think as men we are raised to numb the pain of things, and it becomes an avoidant thing, and then we never actually feel the emotion. And feelings buried alive never die, so it's just held with some sort of parasitic tension inside your body.
If I could ever go back and see the video footage, I'd be interested to know how that would have played out. Because if that pain is suppressed, it's like where would it have shown up when it comes to anger, handling my emotions? Would I have lashed out at the kids or Terry or something, or a stranger on the street? Like I'm interested to know where that suppression would have affected me. I don't know. Just a thought I just had.
Yeah.
Because it was heavy for a while.
Well, you felt the weight of it for so long. That's a big one. Can you imagine? Well, you can imagine. Like, you carried the weight of that for 7 years. Or how long?
Huh?
How long?
Yeah, it's about 7
years. Jesus.
Because once I released it, then I was able to, welcome the idea of seeing my former boss, whether it's at a corporate function or on the street or something, whatever. I literally welcome that into my life. Like, I'm ready to see this person. And I fucking swear to God, it was a couple days later after that feeling that I saw him in Staples in the printer section. I hadn't seen him in 7 years. Wow. And then all of a sudden, like, why didn't we cross paths earlier? Like, Collingwood's a small town.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason why, and especially I was still affiliated with the industry. There's no reason why we wouldn't have crossed paths or something.
Yeah.
So.
You weren't ready.
Anyway.
It would have had a different effect on you.
Yeah. Wow. It's trippy to look back at those stories and those situations.
Yeah.
And the divinity of it all. What?
Yeah. I truly believe the universe doesn't allow you to, like, every meeting that you have with somebody is meant to be. It's destined in that moment.
Yeah.
And if you had that awareness, if you actually had the awareness of, like, oh my gosh, every encounter was meant to, it's like, there's a reason there. And obviously, it doesn't mean everyone is impactful, but it might be impactful for them, it might be impactful for you. You might have gained some insight, some deeper compassion for somebody, gratitude, insight, curiosity.
Yeah.
It's always something there.
Well, and of course now having two girls, I and Terry can use these life lessons to have these conversations to bring awareness into their world so that they don't hang on to the baggage like I did. Using me as the specific example, not so much Terry. But like if Elle is going through something, it's like, okay, well, here's how that didn't serve me. My advice to you is listen to this story and then take the information and use it as you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easier said than done with teenagers, but
I wouldn't know.
Oh, yeah.
But when I get the opportunity, I know who I'm going to call. Jeff, help.
Hopefully I'll still have the retained information.
Yeah, you're gaining the wisdom. I reflected back to you the other day. I was like, there's a book, King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. It's all about archetypes and male psychology and the progression of, child, warrior, king, magician, and lover. But these are the archetypes of our psyche. So you're a child, where you're dependent, and then you become a warrior. You realize what you desire. You have dreams. You want to fight for them. You want to fight for your individuation.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the king, he's fought. He has some sort of kingdom, some sort of respect, and sometimes not. Like there's always, there's the bad king, there's the good king. It's always polarity. So you can take it either way. But to keep it simple, we're the king.
Yeah.
And really, you were a child, you were a warrior, you fought for it, and you became the king of your domain. You started taking more responsibility, a healthy king. You started taking more responsibility, create another business, some success, have successful relationships with your daughters and your wife. That's some king shit, And it doesn't mean life's perfect, but I believe that you've kind of transcended. I think you can always go back to the other levels, but you've really become a wise man in many ways. You have a lot of wisdom, and it's not. I always say that knowledge is wisdom through application. So you got to live life. You got to apply the knowledge that you're learning, mm-hmm. or to really create wisdom within yourself. So, yeah, I really look up to you as a wise man.
Well,
and you're honest with yourself.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate that. Yeah, and that radical accountability has served me well in the last number of years here. It's really the reason for so much growth and expansion is just because it's me, not anybody else, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And I think where I actually start to feel that wisdom is when I listen to people that I look up to, and it's not that I can sense what they're going to say next, or I can, finish their sentence, but there is a sense of I can share similar information with confidence. And not that it's it's my own experience, and it's comparable to what they're sharing. So it gives me some confidence that I'm, because I take a lot of responsibility that if I'm going to share and speak, that it's authentic, and I'm not one of those people out there that's blowing hot air up people's asses and stuff,
Yeah,
it's truthful.
I would say I do the same, other than sometimes I try to talk about astrology, which I'm just curious about. So sometimes I almost bite my tongue like, is this being honest? But I think it is. I'm just trying to be as honest as possible.
Well, yeah, you're taking it in and you're understanding it.
Yeah.
And I think you're only sharing what you know. It's not like you're really ad-libbing or filling in the empty spaces that you're.
Yeah, there's a little bit of doubt in there.
And it's very complex.
There's honest doubt, but I think it plays its role in curiosity.
Yeah.
The evolution of people's curiosity. Yeah.
Where would you say you are in the series of those archetypes now?
I'm becoming a king.
I mean, we've discussed this.
I was a warrior.
Yeah.
I was a warrior for a really long time. I was a child for a really long time too. I think I was a child. For a while, and then warrior, drywaller, fighting for my individuality, from drywaller and super sick to being healthy, and then realizing, wow, I could really help a lot of people with this knowledge of health, lifestyle. And that gave me a lot of that fire of a warrior to gain as much knowledge as possible, apply the knowledge, start seeing results, and then, really, and now slowly building a kingdom, which is a business and respect and honoring the people that are in my life, because, you know, I support them, they support me. It's a beautiful relationship, and so yeah, I'm learning to be a king.
The interesting thing about you, though, is there's a lot of wisdom in there.
Yeah, and I think you wait till I'm a wise man.
Oh, Jesus.
That's going to be fun.
You'll have a cloak for sure.
I'll have a staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a cloak. Maybe a sick fucking hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
But when you go off in your classes, yoga, surge, whatever, your meditative states, there's a lot of wisdom in there.
yeah.
And it's not bullshit.
No, I know. Yeah.
It's like you're a hybrid.
Yeah. When you start looking into human design, also breaking down, so if you calculate your age, so your birth date, into numbers and then break it down into archetypes, kind of explains your life path, your journey.
Oh, okay.
And luckily, you know, I have a great little opportunity energetically to receive information pretty quickly. I told somebody I was 2-4 emotional generator the other day, and that means very little to me.
Yeah.
I know nothing about that. I know what I am as a human design.
Yeah.
And the woman said, "Oh, easy breezy genius." And this is not to say I'm a genius at all, but I am lucky enough to have a very good practical sense of when I take something in, I can retain a really practical knowledge of it. Mm-hmm. But I also went through a lot of challenge and struggle through my life, and that taught me a lot. And I had to be super compassionate with myself. I'd also call myself the heart man, where I always believed in love. And even though, you know, like, yeah, I was really tuned into my emotions and tuned into my heart most of my life, and that made me very confused and very uncomfortable because the world did not support that, and I always felt like an outsider. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure myself out. Like, I can't be... Like, I remember crying to my mom as a kid, like, I know I'm, you know, I went through school getting C's, D, like, N's, needs improvement, like, story of my life. And I just remember crying to my mom, like, I know I'm smart. I just don't think they get me. Mm-hmm. So I was always trying to understand myself to gain a little bit more compassion because I was uncomfortable with how the world reflected myself back to me. You know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's gave me a lot of wisdom because I was always trying to figure that out. And then I realized that, wow, I'm not the only one. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people feel misunderstood. And the box that life has created, or, you know, systems and people, and doesn't work.
No. I mean, you whispered about that the other day. It's just we were discussing something, and it's just, it's unbelievable how much programming we've all endured.
Yeah.
Like what we're all going through, like this won't be solved this lifetime. This is generational stuff. So I definitely feel a call to break the cycles and, you know, be the best father and husband and example I can be to our daughters, and then again maybe improve in the next life and come back and support whatever else. But like when you look at the magnitude of what's going on this planet right now, this ain't going to be fixed in our lifetime.
No.
So, and it's like,
but we can participate fully while we're here.
Yeah. And like you've said before, the polarity is always going to exist because you have to have the contrast in life, or else there's no point in existing.
Yeah.
So that there's always going to be some sort of turmoil.
Always.
You know.
There's always turmoil.
I don't want to get too far off track. If you're
Lynn is
comfortable-
back, but she's gonna pop her head in here.
Oh,
But we just keep talking. She's gonna look for her car keys. I guarantee it.
you think so?
Yeah.
That's wisdom. Let's see if you're right. Or
Sorry.
experience.
Well, what were you saying?
Well, I was sharing a lot about myself and you know what I feel to be successful now. The recent program you were operating,
Revitalize your health.
yeah,
Yeah.
you've had a couple success stories from that,
Uh-huh.
and if you feel comfortable, it'd be fun to hear
Yeah.
the
No,
general
it's super
consensus
cool.
of it all.
Yeah, so I created a course called Revitalize Your Health, and it's kind of marketed as a fast and a cleanse of sorts. But it was really a oh, she's coming in. You want to just pass her those keys quick? Hey, Lynn.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's okay.
Jammies.
Oh,
We're good to go.
oh,
You want to
Conscious,
clap it?
Conscious Collingwood, take 3.
Yeah. Take 3.
If we had sponsors, we could have interjected them in.
Yeah. I love. Yeah. One thing I love in the afternoon is. So, yeah, I did this course called Revitalize Your Health, and it was kind of programmed as a cleanse, diet, lifestyle change. But really what we did was we addressed thoughts and patterns and beliefs about nutrition and food and what it really is and your relationship to it. Because I think I've seen 1,000, we've all seen 1,000,000 nutrition courses like eat this and lose X or whatever, or get healthy now with this plan. And it's really just like giving you a menu or a list of foods to eat, and you know what? Often people will get healthier because they're eating food again, and less processed food, which is fine. But I really wanted to help people gain a deeper relationship with themselves. So I taught them muscle testing, which is starting to define what a yes feels like in your body, because every cell in your body is going to want to move towards pleasure and away from pain. So if a weird dude walks in here or walks into a party, you're like, ooh, I don't know, but I'm pushed from that man. Okay. Beautiful woman or beautiful gentleman walks into the party. Ooh, I want to get to know that person. You know, that's a yes and that's a no. And it can be people, it can be food, it could be any decision in your life, which is amazing when you really can tune into that intuition, when you can strengthen that muscle, which it is a muscle. Everything can be trained. So, yeah, I really brought people into. It was strength training for awareness and intuition, really. So we connected them through muscle testing, what a yes feels like and the gravity of a no. And, you know, I had a lot of compassion because a lot of the questions were, is coffee bad or is it good? Like, is rice bad or is it good? Like, that was always the question. And I just had to be like, there's no context here. You're the context. You know, you're the filter. So you need to ask yourself, how does this feel for me? Because that's going to say everything. Because everyone's different. So what was beautiful was And it was 3 weeks where we worked on mindset, thoughts, the beliefs we have about food, removing judgments, healthy, not healthy, good, bad, and seeing and starting to slowly implement whole foods or just food from the earth, understanding the energetics of food, how to prepare food for nutritional absorption, as well as to really like care for your diet or for your body. So cooked food is nourishing, where raw food takes a lot of metabolism to actually create. So if you don't have that inner fire of metabolism, then you kind of want nourishing food because it's already kind of pre-digested, and or give it some time, give the lining of your gut time to heal, and introduce some stomach acid, some HCl, and get that fire stoked before eating raw food, and making sure the enzymes and the acid is in place to break it down so you can actually absorb the nutrition that comes along with the food. And so we did a deep dive on that, how your beliefs, your thoughts, all in the moment are affecting how you receive the food. So if you already say, like, if you're at a party and you're like, oh, this hummus dip is bad for me because it has canola oil, and you're trying to be like super healthy, well, but then you're like, you know what, I'm giving myself like a day. You still perceive that as bad, and then you're taking it in almost like there's an energy to that. Mm-hmm. So it's really addressing, like, use the power of your mind. Because there's a lot of studies that show people where they said, it's bad food or unhealthy food. I try to remove as many judgments as possible. Unhealthy food, but they had this whole video on how it was going to make them healthier. And it did. Yeah. Because the mind is so powerful.
It's a placebo effect, right?
Yeah, it's the placebo effect. So week 3 we did a fast. And the fast was, all right, now let's really see what comes up when food is removed. And notice your patterns, your thoughts. Because every human was designed to not eat for a day or two. Food hasn't always been in an abundance as it is. And the psychological toll of abundance is very interesting. So we, set them up with journaling practices, bone broth to help, nourish the gut. I didn't want to remove everything because that can be stressful in itself. So dissolving perceptions that create stress, so thoughts, beliefs, and then removing food, really reflecting like, wow, a lot of people are dependent on certain foods or vitamins. And then when you take it all away, then they realize like, oh my God, I actually feel better without it. But I thought I was taking that to feel better. Mm. So that was a reflection one of the women had. She was really nervous to take her supplements and her vitamins away because her naturopathic doctor thought, or gave them to her for the pain, the joint pain. And she reflected back to me, she's like, I was nervous, I took it all away, and now I'm more mobile and I feel better than I ever have. And I told my naturopathic doctor this. I was like, good. Because, it's very interesting. And one of the other women reflected, like, she had a bunch of people over they had the 24-hour ski for charity. And so she had a bunch of people over after and had like lasagna and all this food, where she would usually be like, I'm having a party, I'm going to enjoy. But she reflected that it wasn't attractive anymore to her. And she stood there, closed her eyes for a second, and she fell back. It was a no in her body. And now, I've experienced this where, you've eaten something, let's say Doritos, for so long. Doritos are, every time I watch a movie or I rent a movie at home, like I just love my Doritos. And it's like, yeah, your thought about it is creating a habit. Mm-hmm. And it's creating a desire that you need it. But then you actually tune into yourself, and instead of also, this might be it's an important side tangent, but we've really been told to outthink our feeling. That was my experience in school. School's good for this. Don't listen to your intuition. There's a right, there's a wrong, and this is the formula to get it. That might rub people a little wrong, but whatever. I obviously didn't enjoy school. Mm-hmm. But it was tuning people back into their wisdom and their inner knowing and their intuition. And it worked. It was super cool. Because once you feel the truth of yourself, denying the truth or saying or going against that feeling, that has a gravity to it that becomes very unattractive to you. Yeah. And, this newer version of you, and it's very interesting because when people start implementing like nutrition, sunlight, exercise, breathing, sleep, like we touched on all these lifestyle factors, they start feeling better. And catch-22 is when you maybe choose, because you have free will always, you choose to eat something or do something that's not supportive to the health of a human being, it feels a lot worse than it used to. But only because you were numb back then. And now you're a lot clearer. And when you're clear, your body's not having to navigate so much. Your psyche's not weighed down because the mind reflects the body. You start feeling a lot. Mm-hmm. It's very awesome. Interesting. Yeah. Super cool. I loved it. Mm-hmm. It inspired me big time. I was like, yeah. I noticed that I still have some beliefs about worthiness, I think. That maybe like, who am I to help people?
My question that was popping into my head here is, and this is no disrespect to the participants, and especially if they happen to be listening, but like, did you feel there was an element of like naivety, like it was just like all new information? It's like they were completely complacent about hydrating properly, the effects of sunlight, eating whole foods. Like, was it just not shocking to them, but was it kind of new information? Or
I don't think it. Yeah, there was some for some yes, for some no. There was a woman that actually had done a bunch of check. She's seen Paul, so she was well aware, and she actually helps people with intuition. So it was super cool to have her around. But and we also had a therapist, which was fun. So it was. I don't think anybody ever put it all together and then created a safe space where we all went through it together.
Okay.
So it was like, there's a power in community when you don't feel like you're alone and you're curious, you want better for yourself and you put yourself in a supportive place with others. Then you're more open to receive the information. Because if you're with a bunch of people, like if say you have a boyfriend or a husband or a girlfriend or a wife, any means of relationship, fucking friends.
Yeah.
And you're like, you see people on the beach running up and down the beach. You're like, wow, guys, that's so cool. Like, I think I would like to take responsibility for my health, and I think that looks like a lot of fun. I would love to do that. And they're like, you want to go to the fucking beach? Like, the sun gives you cancer, you know, and they give you all the reasons not to. You're not likely to do the work or invest in yourself.
Yeah.
So
I know what you're saying. Oh, mercy. Well, and what I appreciate listening to you there is you don't provide any absolutes. Where if you see a lot of people online, it's the carnivore people. You can only eat meat. Anybody else is a fucking idiot. It's the vegans. You can only eat plants. If you eat meat, you're a fucking idiot. It's just like all these absolutes. Like, who are you? Like, how big is your ego that you think you have it all planned out? Because I've seen videos online of 68-year-old man doing pull-ups who's just shredded, but he's adopted a vegan lifestyle because that's what supports his system.
yeah,
He's 68 and ripped. I'm going to believe that he knows his body
yeah,
because he's older and lived on this planet longer and has figured out what works for him.
yeah.
You're not going to tell this guy to start eating meat because,
No.
you know, and vice versa. There's some people that their bodies adapt and thrive on that carnivore diet. Well, that's for some reason that works for them. Whether it's a placebo or it's actually a physiological thing, I don't know. I'm obviously not smart enough, but my point is the holistic approach that you have is wholesome and supportive
Of the individual.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the work that I had to do was because I grew up with asthma, anxiety, you know, tons of health issues, allergies. I didn't trust my body to give me the right information. We had trust issues. And through the process of becoming healthy, I was like, my body was telling me the whole time. I just didn't know what to listen. So we had a really shitty relationship for most of my life. And then through getting healthy and facing the discomfort of how unhealthy I got, we built trust and we built a relationship, and now I feel more whole than I've ever felt in myself, and I love myself more than I've ever loved myself, and it's brought more love into my life, which is phenomenal. Like real love. And so it's really reconnecting people to the truth of themselves and knowing, like, you can trust yourself. Let's build that relationship, because it's the most important relationship you're going to ever have. And it's not just food. It's about every decision in your life.
Yeah.
You know, what you do, who you spend your time with.
What comes up for me is everything you're talking about, and, you know, returning to yourself and reminding yourself to trust. And what comes up for me is, you know, my approach is I'm going to, you know, endeavor into this coaching stuff, I would continue to say, but just apply more common sense to life. Like, okay, once you become aware and you're understanding you need to take responsibility for your life, let's keep it simple. Less is more. And let's apply some common sense. Like, there's just so much information out there that if you really sit with it for a little bit, like you're saying, your body's going to know what's a yes and what's a no.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need all the supplements, but if you do and you want them, then whatever. Then they can work for you or they can't. But like, it's just, there's just so much information out there, and the bullshit detector goes off.
Yeah.
Once you really start paying attention, you know, and
it's really important to be aware of when you're not being honest to yourself and looking for something outside of you to fulfill that part of you that you're ignoring.
Yeah.
Like a supplement.
Yeah, like
what part of you needs sleep?
That's right.
You know, but you're looking for the best magnesium.
Yeah, I heard someone share recently about all the modalities, whether they're vitamins, red light therapy, the plunging, the saunas. If you're doing all that stuff on top of a weak foundation, you ain't doing anything. You're probably stressing your body out more. Because if you're not hydrating properly and you're not sleeping properly and you're running and burning the candle at both ends, and then you're doing all this, like jumping into a cold plunge is no joke. And if your nervous system, I'm not a doctor, but this is again the common sense approach I have.
Yeah.
If you're fucking burning the candle at both ends, jumping into a cold pot of water is probably not the best thing for you. That's my opinion, and it could be wrong, but and so what this person was sharing is like start with the basics, and back to hydration, proper sleep, eating whole foods, and
a little bit of movement.
Yeah, movement. Thank you. Yeah. Community, connection.
Question your communication with yourself and others.
Yeah. So whatever
thoughts,
whatever the number is on that list of things to do, start there, and then you can supplement your foundation with red light therapy or vitamins or saunas and cold plunges. And
there's 6 foundation principles, Jeff. Thinking, your thoughts, hydration, thinking, breathing, hydration, nutrition, movement, and sleep. Technically, they all matter, but the big ones are at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking, question your thoughts. Breathing is, controls how you see and perceive your inner world and your outer world. So however you're breathing right now has an effect on your perception. Are you in a fight or flight state, or are you actually receptive and calm? Yeah, it's crazy. I could go on about the 6, but I'm going to hold off.
Do you know one of the silliest things that I used to adopt was, and I used to say it all the time, but like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. And this was me taking pride in being a workaholic, a perfectionist. Yes, try and provide all that sort of stuff, but looking for so much worthiness outside of myself, whether I'm trying to prove something to myself or receive external validation. But like, I used to take so much pride in thinking that I was a workaholic. And then looking back, it's like, thankfully nothing bad happened, but I mean, like, health-wise. But yeah, I took so much pride in thinking I'm going to stay up till 11 or 12, and I'll get up at 5 and go to, sleep for 5 or 6 hours, maybe sometimes less, and then just keep that cycle going. And I think I was youthful enough that my body could keep up, but now, of course, through more research that's provided, and even just self-reflection on how things feel, 8 hours of sleep feels way fucking better than 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah. And it was, you know what? And it was your pride that eventually, when you realized that you needed, to support yourself a little bit more.
Yeah.
That you did.
Yeah.
Because you were like, things got to change.
Mm-hmm.
You're a proud man, and that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's funny now, like this last, the summer of Jeff last year, in a season of rest, because I feel like I've been going hard for so long. It's like I could sense my body was playing catch up a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because the nervous system is calm and whatever else. It's like, all right, we're going to take advantage of this new guy.
Yeah. Well,
and recover a little bit.
Yeah, they show that when you go away, like to a cottage, day 2 you're probably exhausted because your nervous system is now recalibrated to a new normal. Mm. Where if you're living in Toronto, sirens, lights, people, energetically, it's everywhere. So going to Muskoka is probably, you're going to be fucking exhausted because you're like, whoa, things change.
Here's a good one. How many times do you hear people say they get back from a vacation and go, I need a vacation from the vacation?
Yeah.
Now, part of that could be because they were partying too hard and carrying on.
Yeah.
But it also could be, it's just the travel, and then like you're saying, the body adapts and is tired from the change in scenery.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you get home and you're like, holy fuck, I got another holiday.
Yeah. I find whenever I go out in nature, I notice myself being very deeply peaceful. And I can probably any time of day, I could drift off into a sleep. But I don't know, maybe that's just like the calming effects of nature.
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
Yeah, dude. I can't wait to get out in nature.
Just a little chilly today, but...
Dude, laying in on some moss or some Canadian Shield, feeling the warmth of the sun, that's some good shit. I'm going to seek that this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ground yourself, Justin.
Oh, I will. Yeah. I got a lot of exciting things in my future. But I think that's all beautiful and kind of leads us into the direction we want to take the podcast, which is really supporting, the people that are listening. And, I think we did start this with purpose to give insight and give knowledge and help people along the journey. Because the journey can feel really long and it can be very confusing because there's so much information out there now. And there's still a big warrior in me that doesn't like how people's consciousness is being captured. And I'm sure that a lot of people are doing it out of the goodness of their own heart, but I know that you can't go wrong with helping people deepen their relationship with themselves and understand what a yes and a no feels like and how I truly, believe health to be, which is sovereignty, Yeah. So, yeah, and you can speak to your inspiration behind that, but...
Yeah, of course, the podcast. I mean, it's fun to ramble on and go on some tangents and stuff, but I think it would be fun, as you've prompted, to just whatever the series ends up being,
create a little bit more direction.
To create a series of direction here, and maybe start at the beginnings. And I think that's where our podcast today started, was just kind of a reminder of where we came from and what's been working for us, and then maybe just share how we got there and what's worked. And of course, it won't resonate with everybody, but I'm sure if those are listening, it's going to resonate with a lot.
Even if it resonates with one.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. Yeah.
And it's good practice for us.
Yeah. I think you're a phenomenal, I think every life coach is a man of wisdom or a woman of wisdom. So, and then I got a lot of knowledge on how to maintain a healthy body, healthy mind, and how to really be strong in mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah.
So do you. But we kind of have we have complementary, we're very complementary. You complete me, Jeff. I tell Dan, I've told Dan many times, I'm like, you realize we complete each other. It's funny. It's a good sign of a good friendship.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, when you talk about worthiness or even the imposter syndrome stuff, I mean, I do deal with that, and I've dragged my heels to the coaching stuff a little bit. Part of that is because I was thinking about other business stuff for the golf club and whatever else. But as I shared with you the other day, we're going to focus on where we're at, and which has created space for other stuff. And as soon as I create space, I just get downloaded with more shit I can fill it with.
Jeff's a powerful dreamer.
Yeah.
You're a dreamer, and you're a fearless dreamer. Yeah. I would call it that, fearless. But
the coaching stuff stays there, and I think this comes just it's me. If I was being vulnerable here and share it, it's me being seen, because to do that, get online and really promote your stuff. It's vulnerable. You're really putting yourself out there, and in a small town, that can feel like a lot. Mm-hmm. Deep down, I don't really care, but the ego does. Sorry, let's say the soul doesn't care, obviously, but the ego does, right? So there's a little bit of work to do there. But listen, I told you this when we got talking, and you were talking about this series and have a little more direction. I woke up Wednesday early in the morning, like 3 a.m. to go use the washroom, and I didn't go back to sleep for another hour because my brain was just being inundated with thoughts to create a course, whatever else, and I just sat in my bed with one eye open on my phone because I had no paper, and I'm just puking at all this information, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I had to retain it, right? So all that to say, it's like I do believe humbly there's a gift inside of me that is required to give back, and I got to step into it. I'd hate to get to the end of my life and meet Jesus and God in the sandals and go, what the fuck did you do down there all the time?
Yeah.
I gave you all this information.
Yeah.
And leadership skills and stuff, and you did nothing with it.
You did nothing with it.
You shied away.
Well, I was nervous.
I was nervous, Jesus. Well, not good enough.
Yeah. Where are all those people now?
Yeah. So.
Dude, you messaged me that the other day. It's so funny.
Fuck. It was your fault.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm... It's a man in sandals. That made me laugh so hard.
Oh, no. But it's fun. And,
it's true.
Huh?
It's true.
What?
To be seen is to be loved. So there's a huge part of you that can be loved. And also, I think there's a lot of empowerment that comes along with saying, fuck what people think of me.
Yeah.
I know I'm in it for a good reason. I'm going to help as many people as I can,
Yeah.
And people are going to have judgments on people like that.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. It's funny, like, in your classes and Ari's, I've recognized myself almost wanting at the end of a class to take someone aside and just give them a pep talk or show them some love or something, because I'm sensing people aren't reaching their potential. It's coming from a place of love because I want more from them, but I can see people, getting out of a plank early or drinking water frequently or whatever that might be, and it's like, come on, you got to find that fire to push through this. You witness it, I mean.
Yeah, but everybody's different.
Yeah.
You just have a lot of fire.
I got a lot of fire.
You have a lot of fucking fire.
But
so
we've discussed
they're meeting themselves where they're at.
I know that, but do you not feel that people could...
Well, everybody could. Everybody could. But is it their time? They're there. They're in class. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. But, of course, leading by example, that's the, and that's the struggle in society right now, is everybody has an opinion, everybody's sharing, everybody's whatever.
Yeah.
And so I think there's this, this fine line between staying in your lane, but then also supporting.
It is your community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what if I'm in a class with someone, I'm not looking for an answer or justifying my thought here, but what if I'm in a class with someone for a little while and I'm recognizing this pattern and I'm the catalyst for their awareness or their push or something, right? It's like, oh, fuck, Jeff believes in me. I need to believe in myself more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but then I wrestle with, well, yeah, why is it my responsibility, or who am I to go up to this person? And but again, if it comes from a loving place, how could it hurt?
I feel like everybody you've ever reached out to, whether it's a men's group or whatever, really enjoyed being seen by you. Not to say if you come to the church, he might come along and he might fucking pull you aside after class if you're not showing up.
Stand at the door now? Oh, fuck, here comes Jeff.
I dropped to my knees like there was about 100 planks,
Yeah.
That's so funny. Oh, I just thought, you could have held it a little bit longer. Let's uncover that.
Yeah. What if I shared this story with you, and if I was to be transparent, I had this conversation with Ari too, like, this is circling back to me taking things personal. So when you've nudged me in class, and Ari did it this week, my first reaction is fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, don't call me out in class. Like, I am.
Yeah.
And,
I'm the hardest worker.
yeah, and I know my body. It needed a break, or else it's gonna seize up or whatever. Like, stay in your lane, Justin.
I know.
So that's and I know where this pattern comes from.
Yeah.
But, and I can't say, but I'm well aware of it. I'm very introspective in those moments. But what I was sharing with myself the other day is, meathead, it's coming from a place of love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if I'm going to share that with somebody, where's it coming from? So if Justin and Ari are, all right, Jeff, you're almost there, or keep grinding, whatever you said.
Yeah.
It's not judgmental. It's words of encouragement.
Yeah.
And it's coming from a place of love.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, that's my own. Fuck, I'll tell you, it's a roller coaster being inside this cage.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. But.
It's got you here. That's great awareness.
That's probably my greatest attribute is because I definitely reflect on years of landscaping, like when I would just hunker down and get stuff done. I know you described this too. Like, I'm moving 100 sheets of drywall today.
Yeah.
There's no one else around to help. This has to get done. I'll do it. Like, there's something that is the dopamine hit when you do something like that, and just that's what integrity is, you know, when you can do that work when no one's looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what builds character.
Yeah. Or even doing the work and then seeing that there's one screw missing and not going home until you put that screw in. And it involves pulling on a scaffold. Like it's going to set you back.
It's a production.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's integrity. Because there's a lot of times where I caught myself. And I was like, I'm about to turn my back on myself and my integrity for a second. And that is like, okay, no. Because then I feel so much better when it's done.
Yeah. And no doubt if you have done that, and maybe that's how you've learned, because I know I have, there's guilt there. I've gone home and go, fuck, I could have been better.
Yeah, it's because the guilt I learned, like, man, I didn't, and it's not disappointing anybody but me. Because I know I want better for myself. Yeah.
Yeah. And how you do anything, Justin.
It's how you fucking do everything. You got to live by example. Like, who am I to tell anybody to listen to their own heart if I don't listen to mine? You know? Yeah. And be a healthy person in the sense of, like, caring for myself. That's what I see health as. You know? I'm just trying to love myself a little bit more each day. Because what I noticed, the more I love myself, the more love I have to share with the world, and I get to experience the world a little bit more fully through my amazing body that I love so much.
Yeah. I would agree there, and that's something I'm learning more and more every day is the self-love component. It's probably the pinnacle of it all.
Yeah. It's where I've really been focusing on.
Yeah.
That's what I've been focusing a lot on lately.
Because if you have that bad day, you have to love yourself and have that compassion for yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you ate the Dorito or something, it's okay. You can begin again.
You can also fucking love it.
Yeah, that's right. Everything in moderation.
You can be like, oh, reminds me of when I was a child. Like, you know, I shared the story. So coffee, people were like, oh, I ain't kicking the bean. Like, sorry, Jeff. And they were like, well, you know, like, why do you drink coffee? I was like, well, when my mom was a single mom, she taught me how to make coffee in the morning, so that on the weekends, because I was always a very caring child, I got excited for the opportunity to make my mother a cup of coffee, and then I'd make her a cup of coffee, and I'd bring it, and I get to snuggle in bed with her. And I felt safe, and it was that smell of the coffee, and there's a deep settling to my nervous system when I drink coffee. And I try not to rush it. I really try to take it in, and it means a lot to me. So I think you are the sum of what you believe yourself to be. So, and if we distill all emotion down to two, there's love and fear. And in every decision and every choice that you make in your life is either from love or fear. And if you can be aware that you're always choosing, it empowers you to start choosing from a place of love a little bit more than fear. And it's obviously easier said than done, and it's meant to be hard. You prove to yourself that you're worthy enough of love. Mm-hmm. That's my thought around it. Because the world's going to give you every reason to, turn back, to not have hope. And hope is a memory of the future. So have hope, have a memory of the future. Like, what do you want your life to be? How do you want your life to feel? Because you need to have, imagery. You also got to tie the feeling in, because that, you don't know where you're going unless you feel it. If you want to feel more good feelings, then you're going to choose unconsciously and consciously decisions that are going to bring that towards you a little bit more. You're going to feel that a little bit more. So, sorry. See, that's what just happens to me.
Yeah.
I'm not. And then I just got to say it.
I'm not saying another word.
But it's great.
That sounded like a wise king right there.
My family, if you had my whole family here and they were all drinking water, they would have spit it out and laughed. Yeah, I love them for it. Because I was a jester most of my life. I told Dan the other day, I was like, if it was medieval times, I'd be a jester that really wanted to be a knight.
That's too funny.
Yeah.
Oh, mercy.
That's it.
Yeah. All right. I'm looking forward to where we'll go, and we'll get organized, and we'll come back
a little bit more direction,
with a little more structure and a little more to give back, and I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
I think there's a lot to share. And yeah, we're gonna create a structure that really allows people to absorb knowledge and implement it into their own lives through, we'll have reflections on how we did it, and hopefully it helps at least one of you.
Two.
But, it's only going to help the people that really want it.
And at the end of the day, selfishly, it always helps us.
It helps us, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it deepens our friendship.
Yeah.
That's what this whole podcast is for. We just want to be better friends.
Mm-hmm.
We like hanging out with each other. It's not about anybody but us. No,
that's the one. I shouldn't even say this is a little off tangent, but this is what I appreciate about someone like Oprah, who came from nothing, did her thing.
Love Oprah.
But her show was really entirely about supporting her.
Yeah.
In the sense that she just kept bringing guests on, and she was just kept taking in information. Of course, she's supporting millions of people with her messaging and her show and her production, but
it's what she's interested in.
Yeah.
She's
just fucking crazy.
Yeah, she's a really curious person.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say something. I'll let it go.
All
right.
Too funny.
Oh, fuck.
Wow, that was a long one.
Thank you for being with us. We love recording these podcasts. If you know anyone who would resonate with today's episode, we would be grateful if you would share it with them. If you have any questions or comments, do not be shy and reach out. We would love to connect with you. Until next time, be well, love yourself, and live consciously.